Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Tori. If you're new here, I'm coming to you from outside. We are going to try and do this as best as we possibly can, but it's just so beautiful. I have ducks behind me, I have birds, I have children, so if you hear background noise, I do apologize. I don't have one of those fancy mics or anything. It's usually just me coming to you, but maybe I'll invest in one if this ends up failing. But I wanted to talk about something that's been on my mind for a while. I've talked about it before, and I wanted to fill you in on some food shortages that have been predicted for 2025 and 2026. I feel like this should be on our radar. I don't feel like this needs to be approached with fear, but it is a way for us to start stocking up now. And the great thing about this list, although the food will be in shortage, a lot of this food is inexpensive. A lot of this food is easy to grow and or preserve, and it's at a low cost right now. So I don't know if it's going to, inflate into a crazy number, but why not be prepared? If you have a few extra bucks every week, maybe $5 or $10, this would be an easy way to stock up on a budget. So I do want to make that disclaimer. I am not trying to instill fear. I'm trying to approach this with a sensible mind and a positive spirit, although the topic may be a little heavy for some of us. So if you are new here, hi, hello. I would love it if you hit the subscribe button. We talk about preparing and self-sufficiency on a budget and how we are doing that on less than an acre of land, and really with not that much experience. We both grew up pretty self-sufficient minded, but we did not grow up with a lot of these skills. They were learned. So I'm a mother to almost 4. My husband is in law enforcement, and we work as a team to make this work. So again, if you like that kind of thing, definitely hit the subscribe button. I have plenty of videos on just about everything, but right now we are focusing on preparedness because the state of the world is always unknown. So with that being said, let's get into it. I have my list off to the side here, so I may be reading it out to you. And please remember that these are predictions. You never know if this is going to be true or not, but looking over this list, it does make some sense. So I did type this out. Hopefully it's reasonable. Switching positions. I'm uncomfortable and pregnant and a little bit humid here in Pennsylvania. If you're new, we moved from Colorado. We have not been in the PA humidity for about 12 years, so it's a little tricky for us to get adjusted to, but we're trying our best. Number 1 on the list, big one, is going to be wheat. Why? Wheat is highly susceptible to climate-related disruptions, including heat waves, droughts, and flooding. Right now, we're seeing some pretty scary stuff when it comes to our climate. I am not going to sit here and debate on why that is, if it is the world causing that, humans causing that, or whatnot, but just know that it is being impacted. So there's some major wheat producing regions like the Black Sea region, and parts of the US Midwest are at risk. Additionally, the issues in that Black Sea region could have some tensions that wheat exporting countries may be disrupted with, if that makes sense. It could lead to global impacts when it comes to wheat distribution. So wheat is a key ingredient in bread, pasta, many processed foods. A shortage would not only affect these items, but they could lead to inflation. Okay, hi, hello. In the terrible lighting, I'm proud of us. We made it through one on the list before all heck broke loose. But what I was saying about wheat, it's much later in the night, by the way, in case you couldn't tell. So work with me. I try my best to find the best lighting and all that. Like I said, we're doing our best. Like I was saying with wheat, though, the impact could really lead to inflation just like across a variety of food products. I don't think people understand how much wheat is truly in most of our products. So wheat's number 1. Number 2 is rice. And this has been on the food shortage list for a while now. And I'm happy I bought when I did. Rice stores basically indefinitely if you store it properly. And it used to be super cheap. I'm still saying it's very cheap, but it has gone up in price. So I try and go non-enriched, but that's up to you. I would say I'm 80-20 when it comes to ingredients. So again, that's up to you. You can save a ton of money if you go for the cheaper brands, but Dollar Tree still has it for $1.25. Walmart may have it as a cheaper price. Azure Standard has like a great bulk price if you're into that. And I love just the community mindset behind Azure Standard when you have pickups. So rice, why? Rice is a staple food for over half of the global population. The major rice producing countries like India, China, Vietnam could face challenges due to the climate change issue, again, depending on, where that's coming from. So there's rising temperatures, there's droughts, there's floods, and in addition, there are some geopolitical issues as well involved with that. But the impact is a shortage of rice could hit developing countries the hardest, leading to food insecurity. And it's been said in the past that India decided to stop the export of non-basmati rice. I don't know if they're still doing that. From what I have heard, from what I have researched, they are. I don't know if that's going to be an indefinite thing, but that's something to look into because they are a main export of rice. So it's just something to think about if you are a rice eater. If not, then I don't know, don't forget it because there are a lot of items on the shelf that may contain rice. So when I think of food shortages, I talk about this often. I think of that food and what else it's in because that's going to cause a shortage or an inflated price of that product. Number 3 on the list is going to be corn. Why? Corn is used in a variety of food products. And again, it's just having some issues with droughts lately. Right now in Pennsylvania, it's looking phenomenal. I live in beautiful Amish country. They know what they're doing when it comes to farming, and this rain has been pretty incredible, but you have to think about the long term and how that could affect some things. But corn, we're not the only being that eats it. A lot of the meat and dairy industry animals use corn as a main component of animal feed, and that could impact that industry as well. For me, I've tried to go corn and soy free for my animals, but that's up to you once again. So corn could be in shortage and it could affect many other areas of our food. So that is something that you can easily stock up on. And it's something that I like to have on my shelf because I can grind it down and make it into something else. So if you are in a small space like me, a lot of people may suggest to grow something like wheat or amaranth. You could grow that. I've even seen quinoa grown in small spaces, but I have found that I produce the most yield with corn. We do the 3 Sisters method, which you can look into. It's really awesome for production, and then I can save that corn. So you really have to look into the variety of what you're growing and what you're going to use it for. So it depends. I have 3 different varieties down there. We did not grow enough for the whole year, so it's something that we'll have to be stocking up on, but I'm going to try and preserve as much as I can before the baby comes and also before winter. Number 4 on the list is going to be soybeans, and that's going to be a pretty critical crop when it comes to animal feed, but also plant-based foods. And I know everyone has been on that kick. I've been there, done that, and I feel better consuming animal products from a quality source. So if you're a plant-based eater, I know a lot of you started following me for that reason. It may impact your food. Major producers like Brazil and the US could face droughts, floods, and logistical disruptions. So I had to really dial in how I was going to word that. But yes, I feel like there might be some trade tensions coming up in the future, and it could lead to disruption of exports. And it is something that we have to keep in the back of our mind, whether that be a good thing for the future or not. I'm just concerned that currently we're all heated and we need to take a step back. So soybeans, that may affect you. Definitely something to look into. All right, for reasons unknown, I have everything working against me tonight. So the rest of the list is gonna go rapid fire. I will specify if something is impacted in a different way, but honestly, global conflict, trade tensions, drought, climate issues, things like that. That's why we're looking at some of these items. I'm not looking at anything too nefarious here, but you can look into it. Vegetable oils, that's going to be a big one. Cut seed oils out and see if that helps you. Coffee is sensitive to temperature and rainfall changes, so that's more of a climate issue. That would be a great item to have on hand to barter with or to wake yourself up. I could probably live without coffee, but I'm going to choose not to. Number 7, fish and seafood. Overfishing, ocean issues, warming temperatures to threaten the fish populations, geopolitical tensions, things like that, and also aluminum shortages. So not just fresh fish, but canned fish. You have to look into that as well. Some people argue that it's canned and steel, and it's 50-50 if you really look into the percentages. So some of your fish could be canned and stored in aluminum. It just depends where you are, I guess. Number 8 on the list is going to be sugar. It's heavily dependent. There's some bugs next to me. Heavily dependent on climate conditions. And right now, those things are being threatened. So that's something to look into. Sugar stores indefinitely, but look into some sugar alternatives that you could also have on the shelf, like honey or maple syrup or something of that nature. Dairy products. Dairy products might be affected because of what we were talking about with feed for dairy animals. So that's something to look into. Beef and other meats, they are heavily reliant on grains. I haven't really seen many farms switching to a non-grain feed operation, but I mean, you let me know. You let me know if that's a thing near you. So yes, let me know about that. Beef and other meats may be heavily impacted. Next is going to be fruits and vegetables, of course, because they are heavily reliant on the climate. And then number 12 and last on the list is going to be honey. So they are all of the food shortage predictions for 2025, 2026. Please know that these are my research predictions, so it could be wrong. Yes. Am I wrong sometimes? Absolutely. But these are items that I can stock up on a budget, and I can preserve them to make them shelf stable. So it's something that you have to look into. It's definitely dependent on each prepper. So I hope this list was helpful. I tried to keep it short and sweet, but you know how I get, and I'm trying my best to keep these uploads going. Please drop your predictions in the comments down below. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. As always, stay adventurous, stay creative, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye, y'all.
Wide awake is the way that you left me, side by side in your car in the backseat. Wide awake is the way that you left me, oh. Now it's clear we are here